Hey everybody, I'd like to welcome you to another Founder Spotlight here in the House of Bricks Live and our Startup X program and accelerator. Look, we're trying to feature some of the best entrepreneurs, CEOs, business leaders across all of our platforms. And we all know that the rise to the top of the mountain is never a straight line. It's never an easy climb, but it is always doable with the right community around you, right mentor, advisors, and also community. And today we have a very special guest. Got connected with him a couple of months ago. We're actually both a part of the Vistage CEO group. So Ryan Angott, I'd like to welcome you to the House of Bricks and our Startup X Live.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it, Adam.
So one of the things that stood out right away to me on your LinkedIn profile and even how you describe yourself in our community, the $7 entrepreneur. What the heck does that mean?
Yeah. Well, like you've got the 7X entrepreneur success rate. I've got the $7 an hour entrepreneur thing going on. So yeah, that's a unique story. So along my journey, I started TechLok a little over 5 years ago with my dad. And I always struggle with labor. And I generally, like you, have a passion for helping other entrepreneurs. And I kind of stumbled into a staffing business out of the Philippines, VAs. Many people are familiar with them. That has a rate of $7 an hour. And I basically built my own content blog and business to educate other entrepreneurs on how to leverage $7 staffing to help run your startup. And that's what $7 an hour entrepreneur is.
Oh, that's great. And so you mentioned, TechLok, your most recent venture, and also that you're working with your dad. So I've got 4 sons, 3 are teenagers. Now we were just kind of talking about that before, but what's it like being in business with your dad? And he is watching, by the way.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we have lunch here in an hour and a half for a Vistage guy, actually. My dad's not a social guy, so I don't think he's on, but he's more old school. Yeah, honestly, it's a blessing and it's a curse. And that's very genuine. And, we got into something several years ago with an idea, father-son. It's kind of fun, light and airy, and you're kicking around ideas. Well, as a startup goes and you start getting more real, and now we've raised millions of dollars and we have board members and employees and expectations, it's a hard road. So you got to be careful with the conflict and have the right boundaries, because if you don't, you're just consumed. As anytime you're together, it's about the business versus your relationship. And I'd be lying if I didn't say that our relationship has been affected by business. It's also been a blessing because I've learned a ton. We've had a great ride, and we do have a great trajectory of success. So I think once we get to that end of the rainbow, pot of gold, whatever that looks like, we can celebrate together. But right now we're in the grind, and you know what the grind's like. So that brings a natural challenge to it.
No, it does. And look, every great thing comes with a downside, right? It has to. But I've seen, some of the success you've accomplished so far. But one thing additional question I want to ask on that, as I mentioned, just having 4 sons, what was it like being the son of an entrepreneur, just kind of growing up? Because I know he's had a lot of success. He's, several patents, but what was that like?
Yeah. My dad's he's really a gifted inventor. I mean, that's really his bailiwick. And he's got 44 patents. And this guy has invented, a manless lawnmower to a scrolling billboard to the lap lock and everything in between. I mean, this guy's got range like, Al Pacino as an actor. I mean, just the best range there is. So, I've learned a ton, and I learned in my mind when I was a kid. I remember he would go to China about every quarter for 2-3 weeks. This is before the internet. You couldn't Zoom and all that. So I saw the work that was put in, and man, it was like, wow, you just got to be hands-on. And some of the fundamentals that I learned early on really helped accelerate my career and my trajectory to gain, to be courtside next to a 50-year seasoned entrepreneur and inventor, and to be able to apply that to my own business has been invaluable. So it's been a great front row seat in seeing his trials and tribulations. I mean, his stories and successes that he shares, but he's also had failures. and this is how not to fail. So I kind of have my own little natural house of bricks, built in with my dad, which has been great.
No, that is great. And like you said, I mean, there's dummy tax that people pay for you. So it does help you not skip the struggle zone, because you're still in it. I'm still in it. I've been doing this my entire adult life. You're going to struggle in business, but that's really where the growth happens. So let's talk to you right now about your current business.
Sure. Yeah, I've got two main businesses. One is TechLok. We've invented, and that's my baby. That's where I spend, most of my time and energy, and we've raised millions of dollars. I'm very invested in that. I left my very, cushy, great cybersecurity job almost 2 years ago now. And I became aware of the problem when I was in the cybersecurity industry, that 1,600 laptops are stolen every day in the U.S. and accounts to billions of dollars of loss for businesses and people, 1 in 10 identity theft victims. So I set out to solve that problem, knocked on my dad's door, said, "Dad, I'm often leaving my laptop unattended when I'm traveling or at a Panera or Starbucks. And I just found out it's a fireable offense." This is about 5 years ago, that if something is stolen and I got a great job, I could lose my job over it. There's got to be a better way. And we set out to really revolutionize mobile device security, physical mobile device security for the work from anywhere lifestyle. So the really business and concept has born and evolved through COVID. We're now not in a 9-to-5, office environment. It's a work from anywhere world. You've got cybercrime being at an all-time high. So we invented a little gadget called LapLock that physically locks bags, book bags, purses, and laptops together with a small little device that's looks like a small C-clamp. It's about the size of a smartphone, weighs under a pound. Totally unlike anything in the market. And that's our main business.
Yeah, and the company is TechLok, just for our listeners out there. And one of the things I was going to ask you, so you've said a couple of times you've raised millions of dollars, and we have early stage founders out there, and we're talking to founders every day. Michael on my team, we don't even have to have the phone call with the founder, because we know the two things they're going to say is they need sales and they need investment capital. But
sure.
What were you able to kind of leverage some past experience on, even when do you build the product? When do you take in investment money? Did you get sales, then take in capital? I know there's no right answer, but it's inspiring for other people that it may resonate with them, that even with all your experience, you've kind of had to play that dance of, what comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah, it's a tough one. And I've found that, we've bumped our head big time along the way. We really we made $1 million mistake. That's my first thing I'd say to other entrepreneurs, given all this experience, everything we had, now we had a unique scenario during COVID, that when we were building the product, and I'm going to tie this back to your first question, Adam,
yeah.
When we were building the product, we said, to get this whole business off and running, yada, 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 it would be maybe a $500,000 investment. We funded most of that. And we've been working on this for years pro bono. Neither one of us has taken a paycheck yet. So we are all in. And through the development cycle, we built a product stateside. We go, okay, now we can duplicate it, scale it, manufacture it. During COVID, we couldn't go to the factory. We chose the wrong factory, cost us 2 years and $1 million. Talk about a hard knock, a lesson learned. Even with my dad's 50 years experience, and he's manufactured over $100 million of products, we still made that mistake. We went to India. We now found a phenomenal factory that is the right manufacturer that is now producing quality LapLoks at high volume. Boy, but that was a tough, painful lesson. So we came in with a plan, $500,000. We might have to raise a little bit of money and we can get this thing going, start taking in revenue. Valuation goes up, and maybe we don't have, and that's it. And we can just maybe fund the growth ourselves or get a line of credit. Wrong. $1 million mistake, 2-year penalty, move the yardsticks back. And then now, we've had to raise $2.2 million. So we severely made a mistake, and we underestimated not only what that mistake was, that's the $1 million, but also the cost, the time, kind of the Herculean effort it's taken to build a new computer accessory brand. And we changed, we've been pivoting. We're dancing more than Michael Jackson in the 80s. I mean, we've been dancing and pivoting and finding our way. And so we had a whole guideline of what we're going to do. And that's changed 10 times to Sunday, not only on the product, on the strategy. And so this thing has just really evolved to be much bigger and grandiose than what we originally anticipated. But as a good entrepreneur, you pivot, you bob and weave, you raise more cash, you get gritty, and you find out what's going to work. And here we are.
No, I love that. And it is absolutely what every founder needs to hear is, number one, the best way to make God laugh is to come up with a well-defined business plan, because it's never going to go the way you think it is, but you can set a target of where you want to be. But like you said, you have to make decisions, read, react, and then make the best decision going forward. But the worst thing you can do is not make a decision at all. So you got to decide, get traction, get feedback, because markets change, right? Products change, consumers change. Mm-hmm. So right now with your product, who would you view as your ideal customer profile? Who's your market?
Yeah. So as we've evolved and learned a lot of everything, we learned so much information about customers, buying behavior. We've done market studies and focus groups. Those are things I absolutely recommend. There's great free ways to have universities give you data to allow you to pivot quicker or forecast other ideas. We never planned on going into the college market up front, but we are now going, wait, you got millions of kids running around, dorms open, their life is on their laptop. They all carry a book bag. They all work at a library or a cafeteria. They're half drunk a part of the time. You got scared parents. The college market's actually a very big one for us. 60% of college kids have had a laptop stolen or know someone that has. So markets have evolved that we didn't plan on going into. So that's a good example. But I think really where our bread gets buttered is the corporate IT managers. The average corporate laptop that is stolen is now valued at $49,000. So it's not just the $1,000 or $2,000 device. It's the data, the security, the forensics. Did that have HIPAA data on it? Do you have to do an investigation with your team? You got to redeploy that asset. So as security restrictions and regulations have rose, businesses, especially high compliance industries, banking, finance, government, energy utility, legal, et cetera, are really our sweet spot to protect these assets in a work from anywhere lifestyle. So we've got a wide variety of markets that we are going after as a small startup. You got to be really laser focused on what you can go after. You can't go after all 10 channels. So we're really trying to focus more on the B2B corporate IT side of things. And also, in addition to that, the marketing side. So when we've got to deal with a major software security company, and our deal is to they have 5,000 employees that are onboarded every year worldwide. They get a backpack with their logo and a backpack with their laptop, and they want to put a logo on their lap lock to have mobile security for that asset when it's deployed. So it's still a B2B, but a very different sales motion than the IT directors.
So one of the things you just said, right, is a lot of startups, if you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to find who your customer is. And it sounds like that changed over time, but you made a decision, got some feedback, and now are kind of more focused in on who your ideal client profile is. So what do you see as your biggest constraint right now outside of raising a little more capital to close out your round? What's your number one constraint?
Yeah, raising cash hasn't been that difficult. And we've got a pretty solid management team and experience, and we've got some great logos, retail logos, and we've got traction. And sales have started, the product's proven it's working. It's, to me, balancing forecasting, inventory, and planning are really challenging with a product like ours. It's the chicken and the egg kind of conversation you had earlier. It's easy if we're loaded with cash and we could take on 250 grand worth of inventory and keep our shelves full. That's great and easy to do. Well, you don't want to, tie up all your cash in inventory because you want it for growth and marketing and trade shows and other activities. We're hiring people right now. So walking that balance in this new line we're working in the branded tech swag game, we've got 10 products. LapLock's our hero, now $2 million idea product. That's one of many. We've built like an ecosystem of work from anywhere accessories that you could put, your company logo on, Nike or House of Bricks, whatever, and it can be used in all sorts of applications. So as we grow and scale and we build a nationwide sales force, projecting and planning when you have hard goods like ours is very difficult. And that to me is where my biggest constraint is in terms of how we're going to forecast accurately and plan. Because if we come up short on inventory, these distributors who sell to a Nike, a Microsoft, or DTE are like, guys, we want this new tech stuff with our DTE logo on it, but your inventory's short. We're going to cancel and go away. You know what I mean? So that to me really is a tough part of the business right now.
Yeah. And you talked about a couple of things there. And again, we talked to too many founders on a monthly basis, but it's a common question of when do I raise and how much of my company do I give up? And a lot of these accelerators out there, they have structures where they're taking 10% of your company, they're taking 15% of what they raise for you. I mean, just lots of bites at the apple for them, and they're playing a numbers game. They know 9 out of 10 will fail. They're trying to capitalize on the one that succeeds. How do you determine how much capital you need at any specific time versus how much of your company do you want to give up?
Sure. It's a fine line. I feel like at this point right now, I just had a call with our VP of finance yesterday. He's always watching the money going out.
Yeah.
And which is his job, and he's great at it. And by the way, every founder and startup, if you don't have a good money guy or an admin guy, get one part-time or whatever, cut a deal, trade for equity, do something. But he keeps us in check. And because I want to spend, I feel I would rather spell, we have an $8 million valuation, which is going to go up soon after we hit another milestone. But, I don't want to choke the growth of the company. And now our manufacturing challenges are over with. We've now have inventory coming in on a steady basis, and the quality of our products it's much better. And we now can sell. I mean, we just came from a trade show last week. We had over 120 distributor leads that wanted all of our different accessories that could be branded, and they go to their customers. So the network effect is starting to take place. And I said to Dennis, Dennis, I know we're watching money going out, but it may make sense to sell another share or two to throw more gas on the fire to grow quicker. There's that balance of we don't want to spend, but we want to grow really damn fast. Now, once we hit to a certain point, call it $1 million in sales, which we hope to do by end of year, a line of credit comes into play and other financing vehicles where you can get even PO financing. So we're still not there yet, but I'm under the belief that, to give up, obviously you want to hold on as much equity as you can. I'm not saying don't just give it away or sell it as needed, but I feel we're now at a juncture where it makes sense to hire in a couple badass, maybe sales and marketers. I'm hiring a marketer right now and stoke the fire to grow quicker rather than be more cautious on our spending.
Right.
That makes sense.
It does. And the right answer is it depends, right? And you have to go through each scenario that's going to work for you. And one of the things you mentioned right now, you're kind of in that growth stage, right? And you have to lose little bit in the beginning to get kind of that hockey stick growth that everybody wants. But just because you're making that decision doesn't mean it's the right one. So the compound effect applies both positively and negatively. And one of the most expensive decisions you can make is to hire the wrong people, right? It's not just the cost of that person and their salary, it's opportunity cost. And then finding a replacement is going to take the same amount of effort. So you lost time, opportunity, money, and disruption to what you're doing. So from your strategy of kind of growing sales, are there kind of some tactical steps that you're taking to grow the revenue right now?
Yeah, it's breaking it. It's one, becoming more focused on our channels. Probably one of my downfalls is when I look at business and opportunity. Remember the board game Hungry Hippo that's like trying to just eat as fast as you can. It's like a kid game.
Yeah.
Stuff out all this food in your mouth. And I'm like, I want to go after it all. That's my nature. It's like FOMO. I want it all. Well, that has a downside. And, we played in Amazon and direct to consumer online. And I feel like we're just now, after about a year being in the market, finding our sweet spot of where do our product lines really resonate. And I think our immediate home run ball, our biggest home run ball, is that B2B corporate swag game. I mean, when I was at my cybersecurity company, we spent $1.3 million a year on branded stuff. And the branded tech swag is a huge market. And so I'm now saying, guys, let's go in and really bust our butt on this division. We hired a VP of channel sales, Nick Milani, who's phenomenal, former Vistage guy. And so we've kind of said, let's build this out division by division. So I now have empowered Nick to be kind of the president of that promo brand channel. So he's off and running that. And I'm giving him guidance and insight. And I'm saying, what is it needed to build out this team? And Nick's bread and butter, he's been doing sales enablement and building out channel sales teams for 20 years. So he's absolutely the right guy for the job. And then I'm now overseeing a different group because I'm out of bandwidth. I can't do it all.
Yeah.
And as we grow, we have to realize what people need on the chessboard to keep growing as fast as we can, but not being out of control, grow fast, and having the right leadership guys or gals in those seats. And that's kind of what we've evolved to in the last several months, that we found the right horse. We've got the right guy. Let's go make it happen. And then we still have the whole other side of the business to run.
Yeah. And it's the evolution every founder goes through. You start as a solopreneur. You're doing everything, your sales, your marketing, your finance, business development. You're probably coming up with the product. Then you become an entrepreneur. Maybe you have one person working with you or a co-founder. And then where most of them fail out or peter out is when they have to go from entrepreneur to CEO. And how do you've been doing everything. This is your baby. All your money's in it. How do you start to delegate and empower other people? And it sounds like you're doing that. You're at that specialization stage and then really positioning for that hockey stick growth. And one thing you said earlier, which really changed my career as an entrepreneur, after I sold my first company, my second company is a mobile technology company. We sold to Akamai, but I hired Joel, who's in our community, and everything I am as a visionary, he is as an integrator. So finance, operations, shareholder agreements, operating agreements. Like you said, the sooner you can get that type of a support as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs are usually terrible at finances because they think everything's going to work and they want to do it all now. So how does it, what's the strategy? We talk about in our simple framework, like the first thing you have to do is the strategy and where you're going to spend the money and how. And a lot of entrepreneurs wait too long to make those decisions. And you don't have to hire a CFO. You just need financial analysis, and you're still going to make bad decisions. Just how bad's the impact going to be? So appreciate you jumping on today. If people want to learn more about you or your company, I think Paul put it in the chat there, but just give us your 1-minute commercial.
Yeah. So again, Ryan Angott, TechLok Solutions, company number one. We have a line of work from anywhere computer accessory products that are very unique in nature, including LapLock, which is the world's first universal laptop and bag lock, built for those people that love to work at Panera Bread, Starbucks, WeWorks, that want the convenience of keeping their stuff out and secure. So that's business one. Number two, if you're an entrepreneur or a startup or work in a small business, we have a company called Strategic Assistant Staffing that does phenomenal work catered to founders and entrepreneurs at $7 an hour on a month-to-month basis. I started with one. I now have 5 working for TechLok. It's a phenomenal value for startups.
All right. Well, I appreciate you joining, and thanks for sharing your story. And again, for those entrepreneurs out there, listen, we all struggle, but it's, being in the right community, having advisors, listening to people like Ryan that have been there and done that. And look, we want to reverse that 9 out of 10 failure rate of startups. There's no reason it should be that high, because entrepreneurs are going to change the world and lead the world as they always have. So Ryan, thanks for jumping on the Founder Spotlight here on the House of Bricks Live.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.